Good morning, everyone. Good day or afternoon, whatever time of the day it may be. It is wonderful to have you guys here today. And I want to talk to you guys about Battlefield 1. I know some of you have been asking me to play it. Some of you have been interested in my opinion of the game. And we're going to get right into that. And I am just excited to say that, go ahead, TLDR. I like the game, but there's one exception. The game's very exciting. It's very intensive. There's lots of stuff that happens in the game. There's so many different ways to play the game. There's so many interesting classes and customization for the game as far as what you can do inside the game is just top notch, and I very much appreciate what DICE has done with making the game. The $60 price tag, it's always been there for these kinds of games. It's nothing different than what I'm used to. However, I know some of you may dislike that specific type of price tag because, you know, you're so used to games like League of Legends being absolutely free, Overwatch having the option for a $40 package, and then you see a $60 game and you're like, I'm not too sure about this game. I'm not too sure I want to check it out. Well, Battlefield 1 for me, I love the immersion that you get from having a million gas grenades. Okay, let's be real. I hate that. That shit's so fucking annoying. You're just sitting there and you have to keep your gas mask on. It's like you can't aim down sights and you're just constantly hip firing. It's like, why even have the option to aim down sights anymore when you're constantly having gas thrown at you all the time? Anyway, that's just a personal trigger because I can't stand just incredible amounts of gas being tossed at me over and over again to the point where I just can't even play anymore. That's just me. Game's great besides that. And one other thing that I'll get into in just a little bit, which you'll probably see for the map that you're seeing right now, you'll probably, if you've already played Battlefield, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about if you've ever done operations. But aside from that, we'll say that, you know, the combat system is very interesting. Bullet drop and projectile for all the weapons is very cool. Trajectory, having to lead your targets, having to do all these different things, and the fear of dying from putting yourself in a terrible situation and trying to get out of it, and trying to set up a thing for your team, set up a push or set up some kind of objective that you guys need to go get within the game. And playing a game with 64 people total is just absolutely crazy. Do I think that the game is too hectic? Sometimes it can get a little out there. Sometimes you just can't keep up with anything that's going on. But at the end of the day, I think that it doesn't really matter how crazy things get. It's just still a very interesting and fun new game to come out. Now, some of you that have played Battlefield before, you're like, oh, this is just absolutely just remake of other Battlefield games. It's got all the other aspects of Battlefield games. Like, you've got your mortar strikes, you've got your planes, you've got your tanks taking out the planes, all this other stuff that you're just so used to seeing in Battlefield games. It has that World War I aesthetic to it that just really makes it an interesting and immersive game from what a lot of us have wanted to see or play again, relive essentially as a community of gamers. We want that old time, we want that trench warfare, gas warfare, we want those pushing objectives like crazy and just huge numbers of fighting people with the M1 Grand and the Calibri, that cute little pistol that looks like you're holding a teacup when you use it in game. There's just so many different things that people like for just looking at the game, and I can absolutely appreciate that. I think that the game runs pretty well, at least on my system. I usually have a lot of struggles and difficulties trying to run games this big, but this game I actually don't have too many problems, aside from some very minor stutters using AMD and DirectX 12, which if you're using AMD and DirectX 12, at least the 200X series or the 300X series, you're going to get some discoloration or blanking that'll happen on the screen, which, you know, just a few patches here and there with your hardware can fix that issue very easily. And as far as getting more things in game to play with and play around, totally cool the way that they do it. So having those adjustments and effects, and of course if you use NVIDIA, then you're probably not going to have any visual issues like that, but since it's probably not spec'd towards AMD, I can see AMD having a few issues, which I'm totally okay with AMD cards. I think that the cards are fine. It's just one of those situations where I don't think that the game is completely optimized for that bracket of PC gamers yet. Now, if you play on console, you're probably not going to have that problem. Can't even really tell you if you're going to have a problem or not at all, since I just simply don't play on console. I don't have the right to really judge if the game's going to be visually stimulating or not. For me personally, I think it looks just fine. Being able to record it, also a super bonus, because some games I can't even record because they're too intense intensive. This game's totally fine, so awesome. However, from there, I do want to mention the one aspect of the online multiplayer that I just do not enjoy, and it is, oh my god, the Italy map for operations, taking the hill after you take the first point. Absolutely, probably one of the worst things in this fucking game. It is so absolutely just mind-numbingly annoying. You will have a bunker in this center. Honestly, if you're on the good end of it, if you're defending and you're in that bunker at B, you're having the time of your life. Greatest time. It is so fun. You just sit there and it's just freelo. But when you're on the attacking team, it is just so awful and bad and consistently just having to try and push through fire grenades every 2 seconds and doing whatever you can to try and push into the bunker. It's just so stressful to try and make something happen on the attacking team, whereas on the defending team, you're just in this little spot. There's only 2 ways for them to get in, and you just light it up with grenades and they'll never be able to push you. It is so frustrating. It is super frustrating to have to deal with. And DICE, if you guys could just take this out of the map entirely, just delete this bunker, or make it so that when you blow up the anti-air gun that's on top of the bunker, you can at least throw grenades in from the top, because that is probably one of the most stressful things that you could ever have to deal with, is trying to push through on that map. It's like they want you to be frustrated. They want you to not enjoy this. But then again, this is just this one particular map and this one particular point. Out of the rest of the game, I would say that this is probably the only thing that I would say makes the really fun game part of it not so much fun, because if you're attacking, it is just awful. It is actually worth leaving the game. This point that you're going to be seeing me playing video of right now, like, it is so stressful to sit here and deal with the attacking side. Like, you're trying to figure out how to correctly throw a grenade into the specific section just so that you don't get blown up immediately, and so that you can actually push into B and finally kill out the people that are sitting under the bunker, which are just enough to contest the point. Now, the easiest way to actually take it is have your squad sit on top of the point and take B, while the rest of the people that you have in the game just go over to A and try to take it. But everybody that's on B currently has to stay there, and the people that are left have to go take A. So it's one of those really hard to organize and set up things, because there's no team chat that everybody can use. There's no like overlord leader that can just issue command for the entirety of the team. There's nothing like that in Battlefield. And hell, they just made it so that you could have a squad of 5 people, which, let's be real, Battlefield's always been about squads of 4, so having a squad of 5 is like brand new land sort of deal. I digress from that. This point is awful to push. It is the most difficult thing that I've probably ever had to try and take in a video game. I've only ever done it once in a multiplayer game, and I don't know if I'll be able to do it again now that people are successfully learning how to completely stack up in that room at B and just keep lighting it up with explosives and fire and gas. It's like, what are you supposed to do? It's like, how do you get the fuck in there? Now, granted, again, I'll say it again, it is fun as fuck if you're in that bunker tossing shit and getting all these res points. That is a gold mine for farming points and experience to get whatever class you want lifted up. And even throwing out stuff like, maybe even throwing out flares from the sniper class, you can even do stuff like that shit too. It's just, it doesn't even matter. Just get free spots. It's a free fucking way to get experience. As much as I enjoy point farming and stuff like that, I would like to at least be able to progress through a map and have a chance at seeing the rest of the gameplay. Like, we were getting destroyed. We were getting absolutely rolled. But once we got to the bunker point on defense, we didn't lose. We took all 3 of their ticket system. It runs on a ticket system, and you get 3 tries to push an objective for this particular kind of map. And we took all 3 of them at that one point at B without losing anything, because it's just, you don't die. You just sit there forever. And when attacking, we lost all of our tickets at that particular point, because it's just like, you can't push it. It's impossible. Aside from that one major gripe about that one particular map on that one particular point, the game's great. I love it. I love playing on all the different maps. I love trying to push objectives. I love trying to play healer, pretending that I'm Mercy from Overwatch and just running around and rezzing as many people as possible without even caring. I just want those points for rezzing. I want to get that play of the game, even though it can't happen in Battlefield 1, and I definitely enjoy playing this game with friends, which, by the way, this game is so much more fun with friends. So make sure that you get your squad together and you go out there and play the game. Or if you don't feel like playing the game, that's totally fine too. But for me personally, I would say that the game is fun, but if you don't like frustration, do not play the Italy, do not play the Alps map at all for operations. Avoid it. Absolutely avoid it. Take that shit out of the fucking game. Well, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, I appreciate each and every one of you. And of course, if you like the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, share it with some friends, and I will see you guys in the next video. Alright, peace.
Aigey.